Why don't we do a take two?
Wait a minute, let's start again. Hello.
Hi, this is Ron Vodry.
This is Alex Nussbaum.
This is Jason Fraser.
This is Matt O'Brien.
Hey, this is Ray Zwicker.
All right, world. My name is Cal Post.
Guys, this is Christina Walkinshaw.
This is Eddie Delaseppe.
This is Adrian Spencer.
My name is Timo.
And you're listening to the Julien Dionne.
You're listening to the Julien Dionne Comedy Hour podcast.
Who am I talking to? What am I doing?
Julien Dionne Comedy Hour.
You're listening to the...
Comedy Hour. See, I took the word out comedy. Changes the meaning completely, doesn't it?
Days and not really, I'm overworking, but days in the holidays. Happy holidays. You're listening to the Julien Dionne Comedy Hour podcast.
It's an art wheel.
Now broadcasting live and totally uncensored, from Lemon Press Studio in the beautiful Gatineau Hills.
Project. I was like half asleep on the couch and now I'm projecting.
Hey everyone, this is Christian Potenza.
This is K. Trevor Wilson.
This is Jean Paul, a.k.a. the Island Hipster, #hipsterbusiness.
This is Steph Tola.
Hey, this is Jake Goldsby.
This is Sky Wallace.
Hey everybody, this is Erica Sigurdsson, aka Ricky Siggs.
Okay, hello. Hi.
This is Howard Wagman.
Hey, this is Peter Anthony, the PA system.
This is Matt O'Brien.
Some people like that's my rap name.
This is Jen Grant, and you're listening to the Julien Dionne Comedy Hour podcast.
Show. You and me belong, just like the flowers, laughing all day long. People, I need you loose. Sing a little song, then take a shower. Julien Dionne. It's a show. It's not an hour. It's a show. It's okay.
Such a beautiful waste of time. A waste of time. A beautiful waste of time. A waste of time. I went to school, yeah, I learned a lot. Got a degree in what I'm not. You spend your life looking for what you already got.
Yeah, buddy.
It's such a beautiful waste of time.
Welcome.
A waste of time. A beautiful waste of time.
Welcome.
A waste of time.
To the Julien Dionne Show with Jen Grant. Episode number 407. With guest all the way from New York City, Christina Walkinshaw will join us in a little bit. Christina Walkinshaw, our friend and yours, friend of the show. You have really good friends with Jen Grant.
Yeah.
To my left, your right. Good morning, everybody. Recording this brand new episode on a Monday, July 5th, 2021. We are, of course, live streaming as we do. If you're watching us on YouTube, reminding you to smash that like button. Go ahead, smash it. We'll wait. It makes a big difference in our lives. Smash it, really. Stick it in. And of course, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, feel free to leave a review. And by feel free, I mean do it, otherwise you're dead to us. Thank you. 5 stars. Good morning. Christina Walkinshaw will be here. Jen's on comments. Back at it. I had to do the comments on my own on Friday. That was a mess without you.
As I thought you would.
Checking the feed. Clean. It's not choppy. Perfect. 1 2 1 2. Happy Monday if you're watching live. Oh, yes, that's right. It's Monday. So, the last few Monday shows were complete shite. Remember? Our energy, we're like, nah. So, today, we're coming at you refreshed, rejuvenated, with a brand new lease on life.
It's going to help that Christina is going to be here.
Yes, Christina will elevate the scene.
She's got some positive, bubbly energy, that one.
Yeah, so we'll be talking to Christina around 8 o'clock. In about, well, if you're not watching live, that means nothing to you. In about 40 minutes, 45 minutes.
Yeah, so if you're only listening to the show so you can hear Christina, fast forward to...
Yeah. The laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Frantic morning here. We're a little bit late. Your mic fell over. Had to poop.
I didn't have to poop.
No, I did. Sorry.
Say
I know.
I before that.
I don't know what's happening with my body right now. Like, I go on these cycles. Right now, it's at around 6:40. I'm here. I'm in the studio ready to go. And it's like, oh, son of a... And then I go to the bathroom. Then everything's late. But I'd rather be a little bit late than elsewhere. How are you, Jenny? Good morning.
Oh, pretty good.
Yeah?
Got a case of the Mondays.
Oh, no. Let's shake them. No more of these Monday shows.
Mm-hmm.
This is our Tuesday show. Okay. All right.
Well, okay.
I don't know. I had a hell gig weekend this weekend. My first shows back doing stand-up in a few months. I mean, I did that taping a couple weeks ago, but that was like just, 7 minutes controlled in a different environment. This was on Friday. So yeah, I had these two gigs, and I talked about it on Friday. I said these two gigs are potentially difficult, and they were. Oh my God.
And you started off like the both were hard, but from the sound of it, you thought after the Friday one, you thought, well, there's no way.
Yeah. Especially after
Saturday could be like, it's going to be great because Friday was so hard.
And it was.
Tell people why it's hard. Like sometimes
it was
I think
worse
it's hard to
Saturday.
Understand when you're not a comedian what's hard about a gig.
Well,
like,
let me explain it, and I don't think it'll be very hard for anybody to understand why this would be
hard.
Hard, yeah.
Hard is the most
go ahead.
popular word this morning. This episode is brought. Oh my God.
So Friday's show was at this festival that usually happens in March every year. I was booked to do it last year, and I was going to do an hour in French and an hour in English on 2 different nights. It's here in the Gatineau Valley. It's actually called the Gatineau Valley Stage Arts Festival. It's the 12th annual. It's a good festival. It's just like music and stage performances. So they asked me to do it last year. I was going to do an hour in some kind of pub, and then an hour in French. 2 separate nights. Great. Easy peasy. Bring it on. COVID happened. Then they pushed it back. It was canceled last year altogether. And then this year they decided they were going to do an outdoor event because of COVID. So it went from a winter thing to indoor to outdoor summer things. Now, outdoor comedy shows usually aren't ideal. They can be fun, but for the most part, they're more difficult. The laughs aren't contained. You don't hear people as much. It's usually bright. The lighting, the sound. So many elements come into making a comedy show successful, and there's a lot of those missing oftentimes in outdoor comedy shows. But again, they can be fun. But you always kind of prepare yourself for the worst. So
that's for sure. This
one on Friday, the concept of the festival, so they booked it when it was full of COVID restrictions. They scheduled it. And the way it was going to happen is 3 different stages, 3 different outdoor stages with 3 musical acts and me hosting. And the concept is you would buy a ticket to a show and you get assigned a stage and you stay there. You can't roam around because of COVID. So you had 3 different audiences at 3 different stages and kind of this rotating show. So band 1 would start on stage A, band 2 on stage B, band 3 on stage C. I would start hosting on stage 1, and then we all kind of move from stage to stage. I don't know if I'm explaining it properly, but
It is kind of confusing.
it is a confusing concept for everyone involved, for the artists,
the audience.
for the audience. Well, the audience is like, okay, show up.
Maybe that's part of the issue too. You know what I mean? Like when you're not even sure what's happening, like everything, there's so many elements. Like if it was straightforward, it might have made it a bit.
And that's
better,
the thing
but-
is that it's like it's weird for everyone. Even the organizers are like, we don't know. This is the first time we're doing this,
right?
And also the last time, because next year they're going back to March indoors in venues and theaters around the area. So it's like you're not that invested in making it work successfully because you
Yeah.
go, let's just get through it this year. We've got our grant money.
Exactly.
Everyone's paid up. Let's just get through it. And next year we're back to our what we know, like how to do indoor comedy festival or arts festival for next year will be the 14th year. So no one's really invested in making this or figuring out exactly how to do it and all these moving parts. So I show up and I'm hosting the thing, but I'm like, how am I going to host for all 3? So I'm like already stressed. I show up at 6 o'clock. It's full sun out. It's about to start at 7. So I'm like nervous. I'm like, where do I start? Where do I go? Nobody really knows. And so I'm hosting, and there's also this woman on stilts. I don't know how you what you would call that.
Yeah.
Clown on stilts. She was like dressed as a clown.
It'd be weird if she was just in a business suit on stilts.
And so she's to walk around. And then there's another guy on a unicycle.
I wonder if those hurt your feet just like high heels do for women. Yeah, get ready for it. Bum.
So she's walking around the grounds, and then there's this guy.
That would be my opening joke if I was doing stand-up there. Go.
And then there was this other guy on a unicycle with juggling. And the idea was that I would be hosting and they would be at the other 2 stages kind of, because you want to entertain the audience in between acts. Because when a band goes from stage A to stage B, they then have to do a sound check and everything in front of the audience that's there waiting for them to, and I'm supposed to kill time in between. Am I explaining it correctly? Sorta. It's very layered. So I was a wreck when I showed up there. I was like trying to make the best out of it. You're trying to be positive. You're like silver lining it. I'm like grateful.
You gotta do it.
I'm like, I'm grateful I'm working. I'm happy, to be back at it, performing in front of live people. But deep down,
Live people.
Deep down,
versus dead people.
Well, I mean, in person versus on the computer. And and so I was so stressed. So yeah, deep down, it's gonna suck. And I'm just waiting for things to start. So they go, all right. So you start at this stage. You have to start at 6:45, 15 minutes before it starts, so that the band can start at 7. They have a half hour. You go to the next stage, wait for the other band to finish there. Once they're done, you start killing time while the first band tears down all of their equipment, walks over to this stage. So I just have to kill time basically in between for the audience while the audience waits for the next act to set up.
And you don't understand killing time.
Oh no, it sucks. So
Like, hearing that as a comedian in a parking lot or in an outdoor space or whatever, it's just way harder than you think, you guys.
It is. And I want to give a shout out to the producers of this festival, because they were great. They were like, the guy was like, he knew, the guy that booked me on this wasn't going to be a fun time for me.
Park,
yeah.
Although it was actually literally a walk in the park. I'm just firing these out here.
And then so he's like, I'll try to make it so that you don't, like, my contract was 3 15-minute sets to kill time for 3 15 minutes. So I start at the first stage, and it's in a parking lot It's full daylight out, and people are. The thing is, there's a main stage and a big show at like 9:30 or 10 o'clock that most people will come for that. These other 3 shows that I'm hosting are just kind of like filler until then. So there's not even a lot of people. They sold about, I don't know, 250 or 300 tickets, and there was only about 40 people divided up.
Oh boy.
Divided in between 3 stages.
No.
Like they could have, and now there's no COVID restrictions whatsoever. There's absolutely nothing. So they could have just gone like, we'll do one show. Everybody come enjoy. Because the first stage had like 13 people. The second stage, 4. The third stage, like 6 people. So I start on the first stage at 7 o'clock. We start a little bit late, so I start. And I'm like, I'm just going to make the best of it. And I realized that the longer you do stand-up, so it's been 15 years, you just get better at handling hell gigs. Because I'm on stage, I start talking to these people. There's just like sparsely spread out families in lawn chairs, couple kids running around. A lot of older people, they're mid-60s, late 60s, just sitting there in lawn chairs. I'm like, all right, good. Hey, everybody, you guys ready? No one introduces me or anything. I just kind of start. And they're nice, but it's still like, I'm on stage. But on the outside, everything looks fine. And I remember having the thought, well, this is actually worst case scenario. And it's not that bad. So I'm like, so that's what happens with doing it so long, is you just get kind of better at handling these hell gig situations.
I think basically you have realistic expectations. The longer you do it, the more you realize, just like life, there's going to be days that it's ideal, but those are few and far between. Many gigs are, and life is like that. It's like, it's not people who organize events. Like, I think many people, comics included, in the beginning of your career, you think, oh, well, I'm just going to be performing in comedy clubs all the time. No, a lot of times you're not.
Oh my God, I wished. I was longing for a comedy club. And so I'm on stage.
So it's not ideal environments, basically.
No.
And then organizers don't understand why. I remember one time I got booked on a gig, and they're like, so it'll be in a restaurant. It's a revolving restaurant, so that's also weird.
Like the audience is revolving and the stage isn't?
No, it's like, those restaurants that are at the top. What?
I said, yeah.
Yeah, but did you think that the audience actually was, or were you trying to be interesting?
No, keep going. I was just it was a dumb question.
So I'd be set up, I'm like trying to break it down. And another thing you learn as a comic when you're booking your shows is you have to ask these questions. I made the mistake, and I think we've all done that, where you don't ask enough questions to really to make sure that very obvious things need to be ticked off. Like now I ask very obvious questions. I mean, a lot of times you have an agent to do that for you, but sometimes you don't if you're just negotiating yourself. So this one, I was like, I'll need very basic things. Like I'll need a microphone and a speaker and, a bit of a platform if you have it. If not, it's not the most important thing. Lighting, if you can. All these things are actually super important. And then the person said to me, oh, yeah, you need a microphone, right? And I'm like, oh, yeah, absolutely. And they're like, yeah, it's your crutch, right? It's your crutch? No, it's a necessary tool, but some people think it's like an accessory.
How would that be a crutch?
Like
that makes no sense.
Like you're an accessory. Like if you're not holding it, then you're not going to feel comfortable. But it's not about me feeling comfortable. It's about being able to execute the performance.
It's a minimum requirement. It's not even like
it's almost insulting. That's a crutch. Screw you.
A crutch, yeah, like you need it to get by.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm on stage and there's like a few families in lawn chairs just in this parking lot sitting there, and they're assigned to the stage. So I'm explaining how things are going to happen and all this, and then 10 minutes go by, then 15, and there's no band in sight. the band I'm supposed to introduce, they're not even around. 25 minutes, 30 minutes, and I'm just seeing like these families sitting there, and they're nice, but it's like I'm working my ass off, I'm sweating, and just volunteers of the things watching me, and I'm like, so I have no lifeline. Like I was looking at volunteers to be like, can someone like somehow kind of fill me in on what's going on, because I've been up here for a half hour right now,
Oh
and
my God.
and there's no band behind me, and they're supposed to start, and I can hear the other stages started, which means they'll be done, and I'll have to kill time for the band that's supposed to be on here behind me by the time they finish to be at the, so I'm like,
You're a bigger person than me, because I don't know if I would have done all that.
It was crazy. And then so 35 minutes, I see the band walking up. I'm like, oh, fuck, thank God. So then I'm like, you guys ready? They go 3 more minutes. I'm like, jeez.
Come on.
So I do about 40 minutes on this the first stage, sweating. I'm like, okay, that's my time. Are you ready? I introduce the band. They start. And I'm just walking to the other stage. And I'm like, it's like I'm walking to the gallows to be hanged. I'm like, all you can hear are my feet my feet on the gravel, and I'm like, or the gravel. What is it? Gravel.
Yeah.
And it's.
You wish you were on gravel.
I know. I wished at that moment. And so I'm walking to the next one, going like, ugh. And that first stage had the biggest audience, and it was like really hard. So I get to this other stage. This musician is wrapping up his set. And then I'm going to go on. And I know I have to kill a lot of time because the band I introduced on the first stage is who I'm going to introduce on the second stage. And they just started on the other one.
But why couldn't you just say, we're going to be starting and...
Well, I don't know. The concept was because that's what I was getting paid for. Because they were trying this rotating show thing. And they knew there'd be time in between. So they needed me to do stand-up to entertain the audience. But they were picturing like... at least 150 people per stage, but there was like 13, 6, and 4. Like it was really low numbers. And you're outside in this big field, and it's just like, there's virtually no feedback. So then the guy finishes his thing, and I know they just started at the other stage, and I'm like, oh, here I go. I'm like, hey, everybody, all right, give it up for this guy. And now there's literally 4 people in lawn chairs just watching it, looking at me with smiles.
God.
And then I'm like, so I start talking, and I'm doing it in French. And then I notice this one person's not responding. They go, oh, no, we're English. And I remembered, oh, yeah, this is a bilingual gig. So then I'm like doing a bilingual set for 4 people. Well, it's 3 French and 1 English. And the English person doesn't understand French. So I'm really like...
Oh, my
so
God.
I'm like killing time. I'm sweating.
Nightmare City.
Yeah, and I know I have 1 more of these sets to do. So then... the band shows up. They start. So as soon as they show up, I'm like, okay, good, you guys are here. They go, yeah, but we have to set up. So they're just setting up behind me on this tiny stage, and I'm like doing stand up and crowd work
do for our money.
And then that one finishes. I have to go to the third one, and now, but I got one of the organizers to tell the guy who's playing on stage, go along, you do more time. Like, it's better that you just do a couple more songs. That's 15, 12, 15 minutes. If you do 3, 4 more songs, and then I'll do it's easier for you. Just, he's playing piano. So someone told him, so he's going on and on, like going much longer than normal. So then I started like relaxing and forgetting I had to go on again. Because I felt like it was over because the guy was playing and playing. He goes, and then the musician goes, all right, I'm going to do one more and then and get out of here. And I'm like, oh, no, and then one of the organizers looks at me, goes, okay, get ready. I'm like, oh, shit, I have to go up again. It was starting to get dark at this point. Now the crowd is about 30 people at this stage. And I go up and I just kind of bomb again for this one was my shortest set. It was about 15, 20 minutes. And then I'm on stage, and we've talked about him on the podcast a few times. I've written an article in the Lowdown about him. World famous MP Will Amos was there.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so he walks up and sat in the thing, and I'm like, does he know that we've talked about him? Or that, like, because I wrote a whole article in the Lowdown about how we should be able to joke about it. about how it is funny. Will Amos, of course, the famous Pontiac Liberal member of Parliament here that
Were there porta potties there? Or?
exposed himself on Zoom twice. That rim shot was for your
Porta potty?
Yeah, not for the twice. Yeah, anyway. And he made world headlines. So he was there. So I get off stage and he's like, hey, can I talk to you for a second? I'm like, oh, yeah. I'm like, hey, he goes, hey, I just wanted to say I read that article and about the philosophies of comedy. I know, I wanted to tell you here on the show. This is the show ruins things now in life because I'm like, I want to tell you, but I'm like, I want your reaction in person. So I'm bombing and I'm about to wrap up and doing crowd work. There's a couple of fun people, but this show had a lot of kids and it's starting to get dark and I see Will Amos pull up, like walk up and then kind of disappear. And then I do a little back and forth with the sound tech. And
I have I need to interrupt.
Yeah.
When you see Will Amos and you're on stage and it's super awkward, are you like, oh, fuck?
Yeah, everything. I'm like,
I hate that because I have something else to say about like, I know I'm interrupting you, but I want to say it because I'll forget, and you know where you're at, right?
Yeah.
In the story. So that's another thing after a while. I mean, some things you don't know how they're going to turn out, but there are some things I've actually said no to because I'm like, no matter what I do, I cannot look good
I know.
in this situation, no matter what I do. And like there's a local gig that you can do around here. And I'm like, no, I know exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I cannot, it's not going to work. And then, you know, my mom will pressure me and say, come on, I want to see you perform. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I get it.
You just don't look good. There's no way of looking good.
I've been doing this for years, and I know that this situation is going to be really, really hard. And it's one of those things you do when you're starting out and you're cutting your teeth.
Yeah.
And you pay your dues, and you don't mind bombing because you need stage time. You need to thicken your skin. But I've been there. I know what this is.
Oh, same. And when I was asked to do this, I knew. This was like 10 months ago. I go, this is going to suck. It's going to be really hard. But it was so far in the future, it almost didn't seem real. I'm like, yeah.
Also, when you but want the money, like that's the other consideration. I still say yeah. I still say yes to things that have a high risk of making me look foolish if it's paying well enough.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good pay because of the format of the festival before too. I would do that festival again tomorrow if it was the old format of like March and inside, like in community centers and bars and theaters. Mm-hmm. You do 2 shows, like that's easy. And that's how I was booked originally. So when they told me this new concept, and he was kind of spitballing on the phone too, like it wasn't really in stone. He's like, so here's what I'm thinking we do. And he pitched this idea of this thing and 3 different sets, 15 minutes, do some crowd work, do some hosting. I was like, yeah, I'll do that. That's fine. It seems so far in the future. But I remember having the conscious thought of like, ugh, that's going to be a hard gig.
Yeah.
And I said yes. And it was hard. I say bombing. I mean, not like people were having fun. It was fine. It was just like there's no momentum or these big waves of laughs and applause that you can get like in a club or whatever.
Hey, Big wants to know if you did a 50-50 tickets draw. I just wanted to ask that because he asked it a long time ago.
Oh my God, no. I wish that would have killed time. I would have gladly done a 50-50 ticket draw. That would have killed like 6 to 8 minutes. So yeah, so when I see him come up, Will Amos, I'm like, ugh. And then I'm also like, oh shit! Like, has he read the articles or heard us talk about him on the podcast?
Right. It must be so hard for him right now because every time he sees someone, he's like, they're thinking of the peeing.
Oh, for sure. And so as soon as I got off stage, he like taps me. He's like, hey, Julien, can I talk to you? Because the music now the band's like doing their sound check and it's loud, so we like go to this other place. And he's like, I always read your articles in the Lowdown, and
that's nice.
He said the one about the philosophy. You got really philosophical about comedy and what we should laugh at, and about that you should be able to laugh at my thing.
Oh my God.
It wasn't comfortable.
But what did he look like in his face? Like, what was he?
Oh, just friendly, just having a chat.
What was your vibe when he was talking about it? Was he ashamed? Was he vulnerable and just being human, like really down to earth and connecting with you?
Yeah, exactly. Just like that.
Nice.
Yeah. And
I respect that.
Just talking like normally, and he goes, it is right. And like, where is the limit? Like, because I wrote that article because my editor said, column reminder for next week, and no jokes about Will Amos. I said, oh, why? Like, joking. I said, is he does he get, because he gets ads or something? And she's like, no, it's just not funny. And I was like, of course it is funny. It's hilarious. This was when he had his first incident. He was naked on Zoom as an MP. I'd suck someone leaked the photo, like a colleague. That part is shitty, but it's still funny, and we should be able to make jokes. So the article was about that. And so he said it was well written and all this. And then, because he stepped aside from his role for a bit to seek help. And then he talked about the second time. So and I'm like, where do I go with this thing? Like, how do I talk to him? Obviously, it's the first thing everybody thinks of. I mean, this was worldwide news, like naked on Zoom. And then the second time he's peeing in a cup on Zoom. And so, and he says like how crazy the internet is, like how everybody thinks everything, and he had to step aside to seek help. And when he says like to step aside to seek help, what he's essentially meaning is like, obviously something's wrong if this happens twice, but not something wrong where some people were like, oh, he's got a fetish, like he gets kicks off of this, but something's wrong, whether it's a mental lapse or a lack of a judgment in a moment, or just
I thought he just needed Zoom training.
Well, that too, and that's kind of how.
Joking, I didn't think that.
That's kind of how the conversation started when I was talking to him. Like, he's like, "Thanks for doing this thing," and I was like, "Oh, no problem," and it was fun. You always say it's a good time, and. Then we started talking about Zoom and stuff. So it's so over it. He's like, "Oh yeah, me too." Like, obviously he's over it. And so yeah, he was just saying like how, obviously something. And as I said, whether it's a mental lapse or just spinning too many plates or something, there's something that he's got to look at why this happened twice. I don't think it was intentional. Like, I don't think he gets kicks off of it or kinks or.
It could also be.
But some people thought that. Like, a lot of people think that still.
Well, it's just, you know what? It's just hard to believe anyone in their right mind who wants to keep their job would ever let anything. Like, you'd think that you'd be so paranoid. Like, I think one time I was on stage with my zipper down, and I accidentally did that and then realized it quickly and tried to inconspicuously zip my pants up. But I cannot tell you how incredibly paranoid I am. I know I like that. It's supporting my...
Oh, sorry.
supporting my elbow because I got a weird situation. Yeah, that's nice.
That's nice.
But I am over the top paranoid about checking my zipper every time I go on stage.
Yeah.
Like, I can't stop because I'm so paranoid because it's happened before. It's just very strange that I had a thing I wanted to say about that. Now it's gone because of the pillow. It's your fault. Anyway, no, I just the other thing I was gonna say. Shit, go ahead.
Well, if it comes up. So anyway, had a nice long chat with Will Amos, and he's
name dropper
because he's still MP, but he just stepped aside from his role as something cabinet science something. I don't know what.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. I was wondering if. Because when I used to be a server, and this happens in other areas of life, but it's just like it happens a lot in serving. When things snowball?
Yeah.
Like, maybe that's what happened. It's like Murphy's Law, that kind of thing happened.
There's no way it was on purpose.
Things happen in threes. Like, whenever I would serve, okay, This is an analogy for life. Anytime I would serve a table and I would screw up and I would forget to bring them something that was pretty monumental for them, no matter, almost every single time, everything shitty would happen to that table after that.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's snowballing. So maybe it's one of those things.
Yeah, I really don't think he did it on purpose, like for sure. But a lot of people do. They're like, "This sick fuck!" Like he just went on the second time he got caught. He needs help because when he stepped down to seek help, people make that link. They go seek help. Then but he meant like seek help because obviously something's, whether I need to focus more, or you know what I mean, like
too overwhelmed.
Yeah, overwhelmed. Something's obviously up when this happens twice.
Right.
Whether you boil it down to just a mental lapse, spinning too many plates, overwhelmed, multitasking, you do need to.
Something's going on.
You do need to step back and look at what's going on, and that's what he's doing. Like, and that's what he was explaining to me. He said, "That's why I'm stepping back to be like, okay, how does this happen twice in my life by accident? Not." I seek help because I can't stop myself from whipping my dick out on Zoom in front of unsuspecting coworkers. Right. That's not. But people made that link when he goes, "I'm stepping down to seek help." It's people automatically go, "Sick fuck,"
right?
So, but the whole time I'm talking to him, someone's taking pictures. Like his I don't know who he's with, but she's like, "Is it okay if I?" So I'm just like, having a chat, and he's taking these pictures. And so anyway, that was Friday's gig. So then I get out, I finished my conversation, I get in the car and drive away, and I was like, oh my God, okay, that was a hard night's work. So then I was happy because...
Did you ask Will Amos to be on the show?
Yeah, actually I did. He goes, so I am going to do an interview. He goes, I just have to hit it head on. It goes, and it's embarrassing, but then it'll be past. Exactly what I was saying on the podcast. You just address it, and then it sucks for a while, but you stand your ground, then you move on. Then eventually it'll be water under the bridge.
So did he say he would do it?
No, he said. I said, well, if you want to come on the pod, because I'm going to do some interviews next week. My first interview's back. I said, well, if you want to be on the podcast, we'd be glad to have you. He said, I would love to, but it's got to be really controlled, this thing, when he comes back. Like, this was worldwide news. So he's going to give like one interview to the lowdown and one interview to like a bigger media like TV, and then that's it. And then he goes, I don't want to revisit it over and over and talk about it. I'm going to do it once and then that's it. And that makes sense. And I'm sure if you work with a PR firm or something, they would tell you that. They just do one public thing, because then the more you do it, you're just revisiting, and then things can get...
You should have said to him, yeah, that's true. It just put us on the map. But that's okay. Yeah. It's really nice talking to you.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
You know what, Will? Piss off. Piss off. There's the bathroom, though, not publicly. I know you're overwhelmed. Big has another question. Your opinion, do you think you should continue being in politics or not?
I think so. I think you messed up on Zoom during a pandemic when everyone's trying to figure it out. I don't know. I think, I think it's fine. Stand your ground. People have done much worse things and held office than accidentally expose yourself on Zoom to coworkers. Of course you should keep your job. Absolutely. You don't step down for that. It's not like oh, what happened to the camera?
I don't know.
Oh, shit.
What does it say?
I don't know. Don't you? I don't know what just happened there. Are we still on? Are we still on?
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Oh.
What?
Not... Oh, now we are.
Oh, it just like turned off and on for some reason. I don't know what happened. That was weird.
Really weird.
Check. Say something.
Hello. Hi.
Oh yeah, everything's good.
Okay.
So anyway, I was. So then I was like, you know what? I'm happy that gig happened because it was gigged. See, I did it again. I'm happy that gig happened because on Saturday I was going to Saint-Jean-sur-Richelieu to do my first long corporate in person since the pandemic. So an hour at a golf club, at a very exclusive high-end golf and country club for their members. And it's a corporate environment. So that already is, that gig on paper, I'm like, whatever. That could also be a potentially hard hour. But after doing Friday, I'm like, this Saturday gig is going to be a walk in the park. No pun intended. It's going to be easy, right? You're inside. It's all, anyway, so I show up at this exclusive golf and country club. Very well off, very high-end people in this thing, okay?
High-end people.
Older people too, like much older crowd, rich white old people basically. And so I show up at this thing, some younger tables, but it's like, okay, we're indoor corporate. So I'm like, cannot be worse than last night. And this is their second show at this place. They did it last time outside, which was really great. Like they have a really nice setup. But it was going to rain, so the first time we're doing an indoor show. So there's a host that's going to go up and do 10 to 15 minutes, and then I'm going to do 45 to an hour after the host. He goes up. The room is kind of like a big cavernous room type thing. Already, again, a lot of strikes going against, but I'm like, it cannot be worse than last night. The host goes on stage, and he's an English comic, and the last time they did a show at this place, it was a bilingual show, but they said, really, the members are really French. So I was going to do just French. He goes, I'm not going to do my stand-up in English to translate in French. It doesn't work, so I'm just going to do crowd work in French, which is already difficult, especially in a corporate, and you're just going to do crowd work and bring me up. He goes up, starts talking. You should have heard the mic. It was like, it sounded like, it was like this. All right, hey, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Like that. Exact, like distorted, peaking, spiking the levels. So much so that a few speakers shut off. So now you can barely hear anything. But you can just go, all right. And it's
nightmare.
And so he starts doing crowd work. He's like, who won this thing? So who won today? What's going on? Hey, who's it? And so then the back tables start just talking amongst themselves. Then everybody starts talking amongst themselves. So he's on stage, poor guy, swinging for the fences. And there's just nothing. There's just full chatter. The room is just loud. Like people are just talking. He's in the corner going, you don't hear anything. You can't understand. And I'm in the back going like, oh shit, this is actually worse than last night. Last night I had like sparse people sitting in parks, but they were listening, they were laughing, they were having a good time. It just wasn't like, the energy that... So I'm like, oh shit, this is actually worse. And I can hear people worse than heckling where they're shit talking, but amongst themselves, but not anyone else to hear. They're like, saying stuff about the comic on stage, but just amongst themselves in the back. And I'm like, oh shit. And I'm like, I cannot believe. So then he starts bringing me up. 15 minutes in, people are just talking. Like, he's like, all right, ladies and gentlemen, who want to show a headliner? And it's like so distorted. You can't. He brings me up and I start I'm screaming. I'm just like, can you guys hear me? And the trick was to keep the mic far away from your face, but it still cut out a bunch.
How many people were there?
About 120.
Shit. So I was going to say, if there was like less, you almost would be better off not using a mic.
You couldn't not use a mic. The way the room was lit, it was a big cavernous room, these big round banquet style seating tables, maybe 120 to 150 people. So it was like far deep, the room. I was picturing a small crowd because of COVID and stuff, like 30 people. So I was like, the gigs this weekend were all things I didn't know what to expect going in, like no clue.
I think also one thing that maybe some comics don't realize, and I have spoken out before, as the headliner, the person who's following the comedian, there's a couple things that really annoy me. If you do too much crowd work and not enough material, because if the crowd work kills, that's not good either. If it's too much crowd work, because then you have to go up and do 45 minutes of a lot of material.
Yeah, you got to prime them how to act.
Yeah, exactly. So that, and also when openers do too much time, because then by the time you get on, you're supposed to do your time, but then the audience is tired, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
No matter what, if you're an experienced comedian, you can pull it off. But why?
Okay, so this
Did you
was
have to
like
make it harder?
but the
Why
crowd
make it
work.
harder?
The crowd wasn't even listening to his crowd work because they couldn't understand a thing, and it was
that's
like
so awful.
it was so loud and like distorted. You didn't. It was not only that you couldn't understand; it was unpleasant to be in the room, and so I go up. And I just start swinging for the fences, and I get them I get them for the first 3-4 minutes, a couple quick laughs, and then do a little crowd. Then it's going well. It's going fine, but you can again the sound system sucks so bad, and it's like unpleasant to listen to. All of a sudden, I start losing them slowly, and then I'm in the middle of it. I'm at maybe about 25-30 minutes in, and it's just complete silence at this point. I'm talking, I'm doing my act, and there's like, people are just staring at me for a good 6-7 minutes, and I'm like, what's happening? A few people left. People start walking away because the sound. They couldn't understand or hear me, and then it was starting to be like, I can't listen to this tinny, raspy, distorted screaming, so people just start leaving. And then I'm like, fully bombing in the like. Started off good first one, and then it's complete silence, and they're just staring at me. And there's a guy in the front sleeping, and I go, "What?" And then I snapped out of it. I started like
Actually sleeping
because they've been they've had a golf tournament all day.
Yeah.
They've been drinking out in the sun all day. They had a big dinner, 3-course meal, dessert. After dessert, it's us. A loud, like, so they're like, what do we, like, can we go home? And so some people are just like, yeah, we're going to go home. And so now there's like 80 people left. And I go, what? Okay, can you guys hear me? They go, yeah. I go, what's wrong? Like, I just snapped out of it. I was like, okay, I can't go down in flames. I've got to fix this. What?
Down in flames.
Because it made no sense. I'm doing material that works. I know this material. And they're just staring as complete silence. I go, what's wrong? Like, what? I go, I know this. And then I started getting them back. I started doing crowd work, and then got a few laughs and got off. But it was one of the worst experiences ever. But that's where our experience in doing it so long comes in, because on stage you're going to have that moment where you go, oh, this is actually a worst case scenario. This is worse than yesterday. Terrible. And it's not that bad.
Yeah.
It's
you
like,
lived through it.
You go, it's not that bad. But oh my God, when he was on stage, I actually was like, what happens if I go in my car right now? I walk out of this building, I get in my car and drive off. Like, I'll just do that. That was my thinking for sure. I'm like, I would rather never talk to anyone associated with this gig ever again than go through this next hour.
And like, sometimes there's nothing you can do about, like, if the sound system is like that, there's nothing you can do to fix it.
It was brutal.
So you have to just do it.
It was brutal. And at the end,
what was the organizer like coming? Did you go and try to talk to them?
Yeah. Everyone was scrambling, trying to fix it, and they were like, "We don't know why this isn't working."
Next time that happens to me, because you know it's going to happen, I wonder if you should tell the organizer to go on between the comedians and just go, "I'm really sorry about the sound," so they take responsibility for it, and at least call the elephant out in the room.
Yeah, it was crazy.
But then no one could hear them say that.
It was insane. And then I got off stage, and a bunch of tables came up, and they were like, "You were great. By the way, we were with you. We just couldn't hear or understand, but we really like what we heard. We liked." But it was so bizarre to be on stage. And no, I still had a good 20 minutes left. Oof. And it's complete silence. I was actually like, mid-bit, I bailed. I go, what's wrong? What's going on? I was doing the airplane bit and just nothing. So I'm on stage dancing like a crazy person.
Did you guys do a sound check? Wendy brought up a good point.
Yeah, they did a sound check during the day. They said it worked. But if it's different, if you do a sound check in an empty room, it's just because it was in the house system, like the speakers where they play ambient dinner music and stuff. That's where the thing came through, and I've done those gigs before where you patch a mic through to the restaurant system, and it's going to happen every time. It's going to short the system. You need like a mixer, and you need and then when you test it and you're like just talking soft-spokenly, like test, and you hear it in the speakers, you go, oh, yeah, it's working. But put 130 or 50 people in there, and where you have to project and talk much louder into the microphone, it spikes and clips the top, and so then it's it sounds like shit. It was like that at Via Nort in Toronto when we did that Wednesday night. I had to get a mixer and stuff because otherwise you just like get that. It was crazy.
Wendy says it shows what a professional you are.
It was, yeah.
So there you go.
I'm not I wasn't excited to.
Big says sound and lights are so important, but producers don't understand that. It's true. They don't.
By the way, Big, which Big?
Big.
Oh, okay, Big. Jonathan.
Well, how many Bigs?
I don't know.
are there?
I don't know.
I call him Big, so Big because that's what you call him.
Yeah, for sure. For sure it is Big, but I was like, and it is the only Big I know, which is weird that I said which Big, but because there was another Puff Mama. Remember, there's a Puff Mama intro, and you were like, Puff Mama. I was like, oh, is that the same one? You're like, no. So anyway. But Big is a sound and light
He's a sound
tech
guy, right?
Yeah.
'Cause he said it's always shit to put mic on the restaurant top speakers.
Always. You need like an amp and a mixer and all that.
He put an angry emoji face.
Yes. So imagine having to do. So see someone that knows the industry. Exactly. So I had to do a 45 minutes to an hour, and holy shit, it was brutal. Like when he was bringing me up, I couldn't believe this was happening. I go, oh my God, this is actually way worse than last night.
What are the chances?
People are chatting like crazy.
And corporates are already hard.
Exactly. And he's like, oh, I never known the toy for headline. And I'm like, oh, fuck, this is going to suck. Man. In the crowd work, I would start talking to them, and they were just like resentful. And yeah, some guy was sleeping in the front. I go, hey, you all right? You awake? And he's like, oh, sorry. Anyway, it was just like brutal. Christina Walkinshaw is here, so let me admit her.
Okay, I have to take a little
go ahead.
pee break. But welcome her, and I'll be right back.
No, I'll go. Just make it quick if you could.
What do you think I'm going to do?
Well, sometimes I don't know.
You know what? I think I'll go for an extra long pee today.
Yeah, pish. So that was my hell gig weekend. And those gigs are fine to do. It was just... What are the odds? Well, not what are the odds, but I couldn't believe those were my first gigs back after so many months off. Had if we were in the thick of things and I had a good week of shows leading up to it, it would have been okay to digest. But holy shit, that was a long 2.5 hour drive back from Saint Jean on Saturday night. And anyway. The world is opening up, so hopefully we'll be doing more shows in more controlled environments. That was a record-breaking pish.
Thanks.
All right, so let's get her on. Let's get it on, bud. Hold on, let me admit her to the waiting room, or from the waiting room. Oh, what's going on here?
We're not sure.
We're not sure. There it is. There we go. Let me bring her in. Live and direct.
Oh, I'm excited.
Live and direct on a Monday.
Hey!
There she is. Can you hear us? Oh, I can't hear you.
Hello?
Oh, I did for a second. Is it on our end? Hold on. Are you muted?
What was that? I wasn't even talking.
There we go.
Oh, you weren't even talking.
That's why you couldn't hear me. I think I just wasn't talking yet.
Yay,
Hey,
Christina.
there she is. Welcome. How are you?
I'm so good. How are you guys?
Good. Happy to have you on the show again.
Yay! It's so nice to be back in this Zoom room.
Happy 4th of July. Did you celebrate yesterday?
I did a little bit. Like I didn't do anything that exciting, and it was funny because remember, I was messaging you last night, and I was like, so you know, it is the day after 4th of July. But I was literally home at 9:30.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that when I sent you a message. I'm like, all right, talk to you first thing tomorrow.
You're so Canadian, Julien.
I'm very Canadian.
July 5th. But you know what? It's funny because I kind of went to this party where I don't know. I almost didn't go in the first place. Eric Marino was like, do you want to come to this party? It's going to be a bunch of comedians. They're going to barbecue at 5. Then it's going to turn into a show at 8. And I was like, going to a party with a whole bunch of comedians that I don't know? That sounds awful.
And was it all right?
I had one drink and then I came home. But
you didn't stay for the show portion? You didn't get on?
That's exactly when I left.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not saying.
Was there an audience?
The audience just was all the comics.
Oh, no. That happens a lot in New York.
Yeah. It's like they just turn a party into a show, but it's all comedians and no real audience. But also I got home and I didn't watch the fireworks here last year. I went to like a neighbor's place, like down a few blocks. But I watched the fireworks by myself on my own patio and it was amazing. Like I was like, I'm an idiot. I should have had people over to my house. Like I had a gorgeous view. The fireworks were amazing. It was great.
Oh, it's nice.
And is it because COVID's over there? So how was the July 4th in New York? Was it almost back to normal or was it subdued?
Like pretty much, yeah. Like I kind of walked around, went to a few of my haunts, went for my run at McCarran Park, the huge. But yeah, no, everything's pretty much back to normal here.
Oh yeah, we're still. I mean, we're slowly getting back to it, but
So where do you live? Tell us where you live. Brooklyn, right?
Yeah, I live in Williamsburg.
Fun.
Is that a Christmas decoration on your?
Sure is. Do you want me to turn on the lights?
Yeah. Yes. Are you crazy? Of course.
Yes. Definitely.
And that's my stuff. I mean, if it was up to me, I would leave Christmas decorations. I didn't realize you had to go upstairs.
Yeah, that's involved. Cute.
Yeah, there it is. I love it.
Cute.
It just keeps the apartment so festive, you know?
Why not?
No, why not?
I'm all for that. I would leave the Christmas tree up year round if I could. If it wasn't so frowned upon by society, I would leave it up.
Yeah, no, the Christmas decorations and I actually have more lights up here too. And at night it just makes my apartment so cozy. I love it.
Yeah.
So how long have you been in New York now on this time?
So I moved here March 1st, 2020, as we know. So yeah, I've been here over a year now. Like, what am I getting into the year and a half zone? I don't know. It's already July. Holy moly.
Oh yeah, so you moved right at the beginning of the pandemic.
Yeah, I got here just in time.
And so you saw New York go through like post-apocalyptic version of it, and it's fully back. Like, how are you doing a bunch of shows now?
I'm starting to do shows. I actually have 3 shows this week, which is that's a good week. I'm still finding myself like, I still need to shift gears a little bit. Like I'm still, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, you guys haven't got there yet, but it's like, okay, I've been home for so long and now this shift to like, okay, now I have to go out.
Yeah.
And do stuff. And it's like, oh, I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, oh, no, I don't know how to explain it. But
you really have to force yourself to do it. And when you do, it's always worth it when you do it. It's,
yeah. It was almost like nice to have the year off because then you didn't put any pressure on yourself.
Yeah.
Like, all of a sudden the competitiveness of comedy, kind of went, all of a sudden there was like no show posters every 5 seconds on Instagram. And you're like, oh, this is great. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now they're back. And now I feel like a loser again.
I know I agree. There was something nice with the time off, but the process of getting back into it, how have you found that?
I feel like I'm at an age now where I'm like not good at asking for things. Like I don't want to be like, pick me. I want to do your show. And the sad part is I'm not going to get any shows unless I ask for shows.
It's really annoying. You have to do that kind of stuff. Like you just have to. I know. Same.
Well, when we lived there, it It's challenging too, not just in age, but also at an experience level, because we've been doing stand-up a long time. You're very established in Canada, as you know, the whole thing that I went through the whole thing when we moved to New York. I've been doing stand-up at that point 10 years, 12 years, and then all of a sudden, you know, you got to go out and still show up at these clubs and just be there.
Yeah.
And you don't really want to do that as much. I mean, that's the bottom line.
And just asking. When you see comics that get a lot of stuff, oftentimes it's because they ask.
That's true.
And it's the part that most of us don't want to do. Like, actually, I'll take Kyle Brownrigg out of Ottawa originally. Now he's in Toronto. He got so much stuff. Like, he's always doing festivals and stuff. And I asked him, like, what do you think it is? He goes, I ask. I literally submit every year. I'm like squeaky wheel. Like, it's not just like they don't just ask you. You have to actually put yourself out there.
Why do you use him as an example? I told you that I do that. I did that too.
Yeah, I know. I don't know.
I love it. I mean, usually I just listen to the lovers' quarrels on your podcast. Now I get to see them live.
You're part of it. You could be like our therapist.
Yeah.
Now I can. Oh my God, that would be the best. Can I please be your couples therapist?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. And how did that make you feel, Jen? And how did that make you feel?
Yeah, you get.
Do you know that you live with your very own Kyle Brownrigg?
Well, you know what's funny is I've always said that because I submitted myself every single year to like the Halifax Comedy Festival and whatever, and it's so easy. I know a lot of comics are like people do it all the time. You compare, or you say, well, I didn't get that. Why did they get that? And it's like, well, sometimes it's a squeaky wheel thing. It is.
And in New York, is it still that thing where when you move there, you have to just hang out a lot?
I mean, I guess so. I don't even know. Like I've been hanging out a little bit at the Comic Strip Live, the one on the Upper East Side. Like whenever Ali Brain's on the show, I always go and hang out. And so I did email that booker. She gave me his email, and I briefly met him, like kind of quietly in the back of the room. But I sent him an email, and then I fucking got locked out of that email for like a week, and I didn't know, and I was so mad.
What do you mean?
I got locked out of the email. I just the storage was full.
Oh, no.
I didn't even know that could happen with Gmail, but
I didn't know that either.
Capable of having an overfull email. I'm one of these people. I'm bad. Like, you know, this drives people nuts, and they see
how many unread?
4,265.
What's going on? How is that possible? Well, Jen, what's yours?
Mine is worse.
No, I can't even. That keeps me up at night. Like if
I know some people hate that. It drives them nuts when they see it on my phone. They're like, "Oh my God, what is that?"
My phone gets to 9 and
7,810.
How?
I don't know.
What happens in your life?
Happened.
So I messed up. So I emailed a couple bookers, and then that happened to my Gmail account. I missed a Comedy Juice spot at Gotham, which is actually a great. I mean, I'm still getting it. I'm just getting it later.
Yeah,
you know, it's coming up. But I had to email everybody again, and the Comedy Juice guy got right back to me. He's like, "Oh, I did try, and yeah, you're right. It did bounce back."
Oh, nightmare!
And it's so annoying to be in that situation because you want to be like, "Trust me, this is actually, I'm actually telling the truth. This is real." Because that can also be just a tactic to follow up. Like, hey, my email my email was backed up. So I'm just checking to see if you had, it could just be a tactic, but you want to be like, no, this is actually real. I hate to have to do this, but did you try to contact me in the last week? Or
I know. Oh man.
Well,
that's the other thing. I think that, and I don't know if this is, I know you've been doing this show for a long time, because I remember doing your show at the Lemon Press Studios in Toronto.
Yeah.
He took a long break in between too, though.
Yeah. There was
I think that projects like this, and I'm similar with my blog, and now I'm transcribing my blogs into like a story podcast, which I've just released on Spotify like last week. No way. I think that because I'm so bad at the asking for like show part, my career right now, asking for things. Which again, I know you have to do. Even when I read all my self-help manifest books, they're like, "Oh, you need to ask the universe for what you want if you want to get it." Like, but because I'm so bad. Sorry, this is the way I tell a story at 8 a.m. It's terrible. So I'm going to finish this story in 20 minutes.
No, take your time. We've got all day.
We're going to talk about 8 other things, and then I'm going to finish what I'm saying right now. Okay, no. But I think that's why I start all these like independent projects, like things that I can do on my own. Do you know what I mean? Like my blog.
Yeah.
Like because I don't have to ask anybody to do it. I just like do it and then post it.
There are these elements that we're in control of, and it's also rewarding to work on those things because no one can take them away from you no matter what. You're a great writer, and you've been blogging forever. I mean, that is such a good idea to turn it into a story podcast because those are extremely popular. And
oh my God, please, yes, definitely. I was telling my cousin about you, and I said because she's single. I think it's such a good time to do that now too because a lot of people going through this pandemic who were single couldn't actually meet anybody. So she's been single for a bit and she's doing the online thing and people, and she's nervous and she's like, I don't know how to meet people. It's like, it's this thing. And then I said, my friend went on, was it 50? Did it start off as 50?
It started off as 50 and then I took a break and then I started dating again. So I was like, I might as well blog again. I think I got up to like 76 or something. I almost
did. And we're referring to 50. She started off, Christina Walkinshaw did this 50 Tinder dates.
Yeah, I went on 50 first dates. I went on 50 first dates because of the movie title.
50 first dates on Tinder. And my friend was like, or my cousin lit up when I said that. She's like, what? I bet you I would love that. Me and my friends, because she has friends that are single too, and they're dealing with that. They want to meet someone, but they don't know how to meet someone, and they're freaked out by online and like and meeting people through Tinder is just like, anyway. It was
now
great.
I feel like dating, like online dating is so, there's not even a stigma behind it. Like it's so normal. Now it's scarier for some people, not for me, to just like go out and just try to meet people.
Yeah.
In real life. Now that's how I don't even go on dating apps anymore. Like I went on it when I was in Lake Tahoe just because I was on a time crunch, But,
and yeah, because when did you do that? That was years ago.
That was like 2013.
So it was new. Like Tinder was brand new.
It was brand new. I didn't even know what it was. I was just like, oh, it's like Hot or Not meets Grindr for straight people.
Yeah.
So, but no, the one that I'm transcribing right now is like my new blog. It's taking a long time to become famous, which is basically just me drafting a memoir about my 23 years in stand-up. And I'm at 20 chapters in the written blog, but like, nobody reads, like nobody, it's a TikTok world right now. So I was like, I'm going to transcribe these blogs into a podcast.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. Just like, I don't know if you guys listen to, I'm trying to think of a kind of storytelling. I guess I listen to like To Live and Die in LA. Like that's a good one. But I like these kind of storytelling podcasts. It's like an audiobook, really. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah.
Just me reading my own shit.
And you release it.
Not tell that I wrote it, by the way. It takes me like I delete 30 files trying to like make the first one. It's just me reading my own writing.
Yeah,
and it's blowing my mind. I'm stumbling. I'm like, who am I?
And so are you going to release them like one chapter a week sort of thing, or?
I think every podcast is going to be 2 blogs. Okay. And that works out to about half an hour. So half an hour podcast. I think that's good. There's a little bit of babbling, a little bit of ad-libbing.
That's great. It's perfect. And well, that's the thing with podcasts. You can do absolutely anything, but storytelling podcasts are extremely popular. And you it's better than an audiobook because you're releasing them episodically. So you're kind of always talked about, and like there's always this consistent buzz like throughout, and it can grow rather than releasing it all at once.
That's true. Yeah. No,
and can we just mention that when we say that Christina's a good writer, it is you're really good at it, and you got all that attention when you did and I know that you're not doing your 50 First Dates as your podcast. However, I need to mention this so people understand that we're not just saying this because you're our friend. You got a lot of attention for your writing in Toronto. You were on the cover of the Entertainment Weekly. newspaper there.
It was Now Magazine, yeah.
Yeah, like a big deal. That was a big deal. And you also got approached for doing potential TV show based on your blog. That's how popular it was. Like how many readers did you have? How many followers did you have back then?
Oh yeah, my peak I had like 40,000 readers.
Yeah.
And I got offered a reality show with MTV Canada and I didn't do it. And sometimes as I'm laying around staring at my bank balance, it's the biggest regret of my life. But I wanted to do a written show. You know, my dream was to like have a scripted show and not to turn my life into a circus. Like I never really thought about being a reality star before. I mean,
and there was also other conditions to the contract that were very
there were so many variables.
Yeah.
And I did get another offer that I did take. It's just like it never, you know, it was one of these things that got optioned. It just never got off the ground. Like
what was that? What was that initial concept of the show? What kind of reality show? Like where they would just kind of follow you around?
They were just going to take me on my dates, just like follow me around on my dates. So straight up reality show.
Yeah.
And it was kind of scary because I'm like, what if I'm an idiot like in real life and I don't know? You know what I mean?
Would you ever consider doing it again and having like a hidden camera and then afterwards asking the dates if they'd be willing to sign off? Because so many people desperately want to be famous anyway. So like probably most people would be like, sure. And I know you're not interested really in doing the dating anymore, but like that could have worked too, right? And then you'd be in control of how you released it. I don't know.
Yeah, I did feel like the reality show would obviously like change the quality of the blogs. Like it would change everything. It would change who wants to go on a date with me.
Yeah.
And then I might actually be losing out on good people that I do want to meet.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to be on TV. Like I was pretty integral. I just regret that now.
Hey, can I ask you this? And I know, Joel, sorry for interrupting, but
no, don't.
One thing I really admire about your writing, and in fact, when I've told people some of the stories that you've told, you're brutally honest. And we talked to Aaron Berg recently. And
I listened.
Oh, did you? Okay. And so you guys both have a shared quality of not giving two shits what people think of you. You do care. I know you, because you're like a sister to me. You're going to be a bridesmaid in our wedding. And
yes, I'm so excited.
And we started doing stand-up together. A lot of people think we're sisters when we're out. I have a whole joke about that. And I know you on a personal level, and I know you do care what people think of you in a way that's like, in a kind way. Like you don't want people to think you're a bitch ever, and you're more sensitive than people would think. However, you have that don't give a shit in the right place when it comes to writing and creating. Like you don't care about making yourself look vulnerable, or you don't mind burping in front of people. You'll tell true, honest stuff about your dates and embarrassing things, and you don't care. How do you think you've always been like that? How do you access that? Do you have to process it before you go? Do you say to yourself, okay, Christina, be ballsy here, or do you just do it? Like, does it come natural or what?
I think that, I do feel like being like your most honest self is a really magical way of connecting with people. Because even if you're really embarrassed about something that happens to you, you know, it's like, oh, somebody else has probably been through that too. And then it almost like takes away some of the shame on them too, by us coming together and being like, oh my God, that's the way I felt too. Or that's something I like too. Or this is what's up with my body too. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
It kind of normalizes everything when you're super honest about embarrassing things.
Do you have to talk yourself into doing it, or does it come natural and you're like, I don't care?
I think in my writing, it just does come out. Because you know what I mean? When you're writing, it's just like you and your, you know, and your thoughts. And again, I used to write like nobody was going to read it.
Right.
And now I'm writing and nobody's reading it. So, really.
So like, what was was there one of your 50 first dates, and or any of your most recent blogs that you have written that you were like, oh, godsend. Oh God, I actually did that.
There was one on this series I wrote, you know, because I feel like right now we're living in a big like women support women culture. And, you and I were, I obviously said a million nice things about you in my blog, but I don't think we really came up in a women support women world. Like, I feel like, and I'm not even talking about comedy. I'm talking about like life in general, like the way women treated each other. Like the word catty has obviously been in my vocabulary for a long time for a reason. Like, do you know what I mean? So then I wrote a bunch of stories about,
You're so not catty though. You're not like
I'm always supportive and I love everyone. And I'm so
it's true.
proud of so many people that came after me. And I'm so happy I got to connect with them when they were like open micers and now they're like, ahead of me. Like, but like, yeah, I was never like that. But anyways, in that blog, I kind of, I just told a lot of stories about women bullying me. You know what I mean? About shitty times. And then I felt bad because I'm like, that was when I was a little bit scared to post. Because I was like,
Did you name
I'm
people?
not saying I'm just like, no, like I can't tell you that I kind of came up in this women support women world. I'm a part of it and I do support women for sure. But I don't know, that was a hard one to write. Because it's like, you're wrong. Women don't always support women, just so you know. Like,
Yeah, well, like you said, it's especially in recent years, but it certainly hasn't always been the case.
Yeah,
I grew up with four sisters.
It's kind of fair. I get where it comes from because, if nobody's booking women on shows, and there's always like one spot for a woman, you've kind of created a competitive, field. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 100%.
So, what do you? Yeah. Anyways. It's getting better now. It is so crazy how many people complain. Like, there's always like a lot of things on Twitter. People like, these clubs aren't booking women. These clubs are, you know what I mean? But then sometimes when I look back, I go, well, how many women were there doing comedy? I don't even think there were enough women to go around. Like,
yeah, it's a tough one.
Totally.
I mean, as a female comic, you get asked these kind of questions all the time, and it's great to talk about. But on the other hand, when you draw too much attention to it, it puts a spotlight on how we're different. When we don't talk about different, then we can all just be humans doing comedy. So it's like this thing that, like, do we bring it up? We need to bring it up because there's sexism, and there definitely is. It's definitely still there. But then you talk about it too much, then you're showing how different you are. So it's like, it's like this never-ending thing. And I know you're like me. I know you are because we started together, and I know that I know you never thought about yourself as a woman doing comedy. You just thought of yourself as a human doing comedy. Like,
yeah, totally.
It's just so weird, and and I don't know. We get more things maybe because we're women and they want to check the boxes, which is great.
And I don't like that.
I know.
Like, I remember when I got into a comedy festival competition years ago, and I remember when I got in, he said, I really need a woman.
I know.
And I was like, that's not a compliment to me. That doesn't make me feel good. I'm just checking a box. I want to get something because I'm funny, not because I'm a woman.
I know. It's so frustrating.
And so it's like, you're right. So that's the that's the catch. And there was like, you have to have more women on the show. But if you get that and you got it because you're a woman and not because you're funny, it's not going to make you feel good. At least if you're a fucking good comic.
A lot of people say, well, there's not a lot of funny women. But of course, one of the reasons that you're not going to see as many quote unquote funny women is because there's not as many women doing stand up. Therefore, the ratio of people, like if you did the comparison, but people, and then when you try to explain it, it's like they've zoned out. It's like they're not listening. It's like, yeah, but really, it's just numbers. It's a numbers game.
People are they're just ignorant. Like, people don't know, and it shows how ignorant they are because they tell you to your face. Like that the guy was said to you, and it didn't cross his mind that he shouldn't say that out loud, but he would say to your face, I really needed a woman. That just goes to show how ignorant people are. Or people will come up to your face and say, women will say, I don't usually like women comedians. This is just okay to just say it out loud.
Yeah.
Which is bizarre.
It's so
funny because maybe that's why I was running out of that party yesterday, because sometimes I don't it's ironic because I know we're talking about comedy right now, but sometimes I don't want to talk about comedy politics. I want to talk about other life.
Yes.
I want to make jokes. I don't want to fucking talk about them. Do you know what I mean?
100%. Well, which is why we don't have many comedian friends. I say we, the collective we, but I don't like and the ones that I do are the ones that you just talk about life when you hang out with. It's just like, if I go, hey, how's it going? Oh, good. Showcase for Just for Laugh. You lost me right away. If you go into
exactly the people that need to gun it for like, oh, this like, and I'm just like, oh, I'm so annoyed. Like I could play that game too. You know, I've been doing comedy for 23 years.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to. I'm gonna be like, yeah, like
no, I know.
That was the other thing, Jen. To loop back around to your episode with Aaron, again, to all these people that really think they understand the comedy world and they want to, you know, like when you're right, when you were going through that thing, you know, your heckling incident.
Yeah.
And then all those younger comics were trying to, I get it. You were like, I'm done. I'm done here. Like, I don't want to talk about this anymore. I felt the same way. Like when I had my thing happen,
yeah,
I wrote that blog. I literally turned off my phone and went to sleep at like 1:00 in the afternoon. I was like, I need to check out. But yeah, some of the younger generation, they just like came in without even having the experience of really being a good, like a comic. Yeah. And they all of a sudden thought they knew everything about the industry and, you know, what was wrong with it. I'm like, you need to work on your material before you speak out.
And I don't want to be that spokesperson. You know, I don't want to be.
Material comes second now. It's like
true.
They focus on the inner workings of how everything, but no one's writing anything. And I think that comes from all the Facebook groups. Like every city has like a that city stand-up group. So much wasted time and energy on those things, and people just don't write jokes anymore, and it becomes. Yeah, like younger comics want to capitalize on these opportunities because they know that'll get them further than writing a good joke for some reason. Like it's just like
it's so true. It's like it seems like today all you really need to do to become a comedian is take a picture of yourself with a microphone in your hand and put it on Facebook, and you're a comedian. Meanwhile, I had to fucking go to Cornwall for $150 and perform for a bunch of drunk people at Freddy's. Yeah. That's how I became a comedian. I got fed to the dogs, the wolves.
Many times, many times for many years. Like that's the only way to.
It's crazy we chose this.
It's insane.
I know. Sometimes I do. I feel like that. Sometimes I'm like, oh my God, I'm trapped in the dream of my 18-year-old self.
Yeah.
And trapped is a good word because what are we going to do now? You know, like
what are we going to do now? Yeah. It's like even if I gave up, it would look the exact same.
I know.
I'd still be going.
And
I'd be like, I'll do your show.
And
I thought I gave up last week, but I guess I got a gig, so I'll go.
But you can, I often think of that, like you can never stop. Like, because for me personally, if I was to ever quit comedy, forever I'd be like, oh, it could have, like something could have happened by now. Like if I quit now, in 5 years, I'd be like, I wonder what would that look like if I'd have just kept at it for now. And that will always be there forever. So you just can't stop.
Okay, so in an effort to like, go in a different direction just for a second. Your personal life in New York, have you met new friends? I know you're very good with people. You're the type of person that can sit at a bar and just start chatting with people and become friends. So have you made a lot of friends? Have you hooked up with anyone? Have you been nervous about hooking up with anyone because it's COVID? What's the vibe out there?
I'm giving out my phone number once a day. Like, you're right. I'm having a lot of it's, you know, it was a long time where we weren't allowed to sit at a bar. You know, I'm a bar fly. I do like to, if I go out, it's because I want to meet people. Do you know what I mean? So I sit at the bar and, I'm always meeting people. I mean, I was hoping, I do have, I don't know. I don't want to say it's a love life. I'm going to say it's more of a roster.
Oh. A roster.
I'm dating. Thanks. I know. You know, I mean, back to that Tinder blog. I've always been a strong anti-slut shaming kind of.
Yeah, for sure. Why are women sluts if they?
It's coming out of the pandemic, making people more, for lack of a better word, aggressive, meaning like just going for it, approaching more.
That's a good question.
Because everyone's been cooped up for so long. Are people more just hitting on people, right? Like out in the open?
I think everybody's, even if there's obviously some aggressive people, but everybody does seem like extremely friendly.
Right.
Everyone's
horny.
Everybody is ready to meet people. Like it's really friendly here right now. So yeah, like whatever. I go on some dates sometimes, and then I got like guy here, guy there. Like a few. Like,
do you ask them if they're double vaxxed or no?
I feel like I feel like everybody here is vaxxed.
Everyone. Yeah, everyone.
Do you even ask or you just assume at this point?
I just assume.
Yeah?
In fact, like I'm almost...
There's a checklist now, right? Okay, have you had your vaccine? Do you have your condoms? Like...
Yeah, that's true. Well, now I'm at the point where I'm almost offended if somebody asks me if I'm vaccinated.
Oh, nice.
Right.
Okay.
Like, obviously, what kind of idiot do I look like?
Yeah, right.
I know. And then do you ever meet anyone there? Because this happened to me. I had a convo with someone who seemed like, someone I'd hang out with. We have a lot in common. The person seemed cool, and then the vaccine came up and it was very divisive. And have you met anybody in the US that's like that, and does it surprise you? Like, I was shocked when that happened. They were like, no, I disagree with the vaccination. I was like, ugh.
I have a very good friend who
okay,
and I'm not even going to say I'm not even going to say gender because I'm so 2021.
No problem.
But them does not have the vaccine yet and is still weary.
Wow.
Doesn't want it. And you know what? Guess what I say? Your body, your choice.
Yeah, personal choice.
Yeah, personal choice. What you believe, whatever you believe. And you know what? I'm all right. I'm taking care of myself. I feel I got the vax. I had 0 side effects, except I got the Johnson & Johnson.
Yeah, I remember this. Yeah.
I know, which is basically like everybody looks at you like you went to Winners to get your
Winners. Do you do that in your act? You should do that.
Well, in America, I say TJ Maxx, but I converted the joke for you.
Is TJ Maxx the same as Winners there?
Like basically. Yeah, like a discount.
Oh my God, that's a great joke. And you said another joke to me the other day that was really funny.
But here's the thing.
Anyways, go ahead.
Oh yeah, but the only side effect that I had, so the day after I got the Johnson & Johnson, they halted the use of it.
Oh my God.
The day after. So like my only side effect was paranoia.
Of course.
Grabbing my head for 2 weeks. Like, is it okay?
Oh, that's hilarious.
Is everything okay up there?
And you don't know, and it's in there. There's something about a vaccine. It's just so deeply in there. Like it's just in your body. It's everywhere. It goes in and it goes everywhere. It's like you can't like puke it up or shit it out.
Johnson & Johnson like the AstraZeneca? Is that the same idea? Same concept of a vaccine?
What, like the blood clot situation?
I think so, eh?
But it was like 1 in 7 million. I think there was like
it was low.
7 cases in like 7 million or something. It was really low.
Much lower than AstraZeneca. Much lower. And Johnson & Johnson was the 1 dose.
Why'd they pull it then?
Like because of those few cases. And then it was back on the market in like 2 weeks or whatever. But even when people were worried about that, everybody's like, you married Johnson & Johnson. I was like, have you seen what I put in my body? Yeah. Have you seen who I put in my body?
Yeah.
I mean, fine.
Yeah, there's a guy on my Facebook who constantly posts about how the vaccine will kill you, and the guy smokes, no joke, a pack and a half a day.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's like,
that's always people like that.
That fucking thing will kill you, man. It's full of toxins. It's full of chemicals. I'm like, you smoke 38 Benson and Hedges a day.
And don't you think like, oh shit, don't you hate it when you're about to say something?
Yeah, but it's also annoying because it's like now, okay, when the early vaccine, when the vaccine came out in November, conspiracy theories, fine. But now almost everyone's got the vaccine. So if you're out, like this guy's like, it's going to kill you. It's going to give you cancer. And he goes, my parents got it. But still, it's like, well, a lot of people you know and love got it, so just shut the fuck up. I mean, what's the point? Do you want to be right? I mean, who cares? I mean,
that's what I was going to say. Do you think this is all just a ploy because people are afraid of needles? Like, why do they care so much? Seriously, like doctors and scientists, I don't understand. I really don't get it.
Anyway.
I think it's because of social media. I feel like back in the day when the polio vaccine came in, people really like celebrated that. They were like, yay, finally, we have something to protect us and our children.
I wonder if everyone did. I'm sure not everyone did.
I bet you there were less conspiracy theorists.
Yeah, less for sure because there was no internet. But...
Yeah, it's the social media and internet and everything. Oh,
have you been...
so annoying.
I felt emotional after I got my vaccine. I felt like it was the beginning of the end. You know what I mean? I was like, oh my God, we're really coming out of this. Like, it felt great.
I wish they kept the Johnson & Johnson going, actually, because single dose, that's the best.
It makes so much sense. This double dose thing. And aren't your guys' doses like spread out over like 3 months or whatever?
No, they're sped up, but still, yeah.
Where are you guys at? Are you guys have both your shots?
Julian's going today for his second.
Vaxxed and waxed. Ready for hot boy summer.
Hot boy
I'm just
summer.
vaxxed and vaxxed.
Hot boy summer.
Vaxxed and waxed.
I'm an anti-waxer.
That's
I love
funny.
it. Can you pass me a Kleenex, please?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I had my second one on Friday. So
And how do you feel?
I felt like on Saturday, the next day, I felt like I had the flu, basically. But it wasn't crazy. Like I had that skin crawling feeling and like chills and really sore shoulder. I
did have a sore arm. That would be the only thing I did go through.
But whatever. It's a small price to pay to feel invincible.
Yeah. No, I just felt paranoid.
That would be. Yeah. I would. Yeah, that's
something's
crazy.
in your body and it just got recalled. Do you know what I mean?
It's so true.
But you. Oh my God.
You're right. Like a recall. You're like. You mean to tell me I've been driving and my airbags could blow at any time? But this is like inside your body at a deep level. And
you're also like in the U.S. You're in the U.S. You're a new person in New York and you're in an apartment by yourself seeing this news. And you're like, oh God. It's
so true. You know, like I always think that too. I'm like, oh my God, what if something did happen? Like, I'm gonna call my neighbor and hope he's awake. Like,
it's like looks like.
Yeah, and also you posted something I remember that I thought was really great too. Is that the blood clots? The risk of blood clots with birth control and all that. Like the pill is way higher and
way higher. That's another thing that I don't know if you experienced this, but like, my period went on the fritz too after the vaccine.
Yeah.
Like during the pandemic, sorry, Julien, to turn this into
please.
Woman talk.
No.
How was your period, Julien?
Heavy
flow?
Yeah.
During the pandemic, like that first month of lockdown, when I literally didn't leave this apartment, the thing about it, like I'm a big believer in pheromones, right? Like, you know, how women can like sync up and stuff like that.
Definitely.
I went a whole cycle without getting a period. Like I was 28 days late. I was basically like blanked a whole month. So then my period was like really late and all over the place, choppy. Then I got the vaccine and I started to get my period every 2.5 weeks. Like it sped up. I was getting it more and it was so weird. I was like, what the hell? And now it seems to be back on schedule. But I wonder when they are making these vaccines, I really don't think they factor in.
Right.
Like I don't think they do any tests on specifically what it could do to like your period and like a woman's menstrual cycle, because I'm sure there's got to be some side effects that aren't even tested. They're like, whatever happens to that, who cares? Like,
and some women are worried, like, those women, Christina, I know it's hard to wrap your head around that are trying to get pregnant one day or maybe want to get pregnant. You're like, what? Because you and I have never wanted to have kids, but some people actually, here's a newsflash, some people want kids.
No, I know. Yeah, it's taken some of my friends 10 years to get pregnant.
Yeah, so some people are worried about getting the vaccination because women are worried about that because of how it's going to potentially affect their fertility.
Yeah, and it's like if they actually did studies on that or they did test it, then maybe the woman would feel safer. But I don't think they do.
Yeah,
I don't think they're like, okay, this is one of the side effects for women with this vaccine. I don't think they.
Right. I love how you have your cute little coffee pot there.
Isn't it so cute? Anessa got this for me. Anessa bubbled with me for a bit. It's just great. Just like a little, like a French press thingy.
Cute.
But it's the right amount of coffee. And then actually what's funny is, so these beans that I'm brewing over here, they're from Kings County Distillery.
Yeah.
So they're like bourbon flavored. It's not alcohol, but I know with me, you never know. But so they're bourbon flavored coffee beans.
Is it good?
The first time I drank it, I was like, I don't know, but this is my second pot. And actually now I'm really into it.
Yeah. Sometimes you just need to train your palate, right?
Yeah. It's just a weird flavor at first, but now
like bourbon. You do like bourbon.
You do like bourbon, Christina. You do. There's also like a place, 787 coffee shop in the East Village that I love, and they have a rum infused espresso bean. And again, they're not alcoholic at all, but they're iced Americanos with the rum infused espresso bean, like delicious. My favorite coffee drink in the city.
Does it taste rummy? Like what does it even taste like?
It does. Like it kind of does taste boozy, but it's 100% not. So you're it's just a fun coffee drink in the morning. We're like, I don't even drink rum, but
kind of like the Baileys. They do a Baileys one like that, I think. Okay, Baileys coffee, but it doesn't taste like Baileys. Like it's not alcoholic.
Yeah, I was never into Baileys and coffee because if I'm drinking coffee, it's because I want to wake up, not fall asleep. And every single time I put Baileys in my coffee, it's just like,
oh my God. You know what? You are so right. I've never said this out loud, but it makes me sleep too.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm going to announce it right now on the show. I'm going to say it in public. Coffee and Baileys sucks.
Thank you.
Yes. No, I've always felt
it does make you tired.
I've never admitted this or really said it out loud, but it's one of those things where society has bestowed this thing. We have to like it. You're just supposed to love coffee. Oh, little Baileys in the coffee. I actually don't like it. Makes me really
guess what?
tired.
It tastes fine, but it is not that you're not going to get that caffeine. It's not going to work.
What about a Spanish coffee or I think you'd feel a little bit more like booze, like straight booze, but I feel like
whiskey
it's so
in the
sugary.
Coffee.
Like, you know what I mean? Like if you put like Irish whiskey in it, you might feel a little bit more.
Go get the whiskey in the coffee. Let's try it on the air.
Yeah. Well, we have a comment that they agree. Martin Leger says he agrees.
With what?
Yeah, Baileys and coffee.
Yeah.
Oh, sucks.
Yep.
See, I already forgot. I'm like, with what? Whiskey?
Terrible idea.
Yeah.
Do your coffee and then do your booze separately. They should be, do them separately, you know?
I actually don't mind Baileys on the rocks. That's okay. Like a little cold bit. But coffee and Baileys, every Christmas we do it. It puts me to sleep and I just don't like it. It's to have anything happen, you need to put a lot in it, and then it just kind of makes it like coldish.
Yeah.
It's like, I like my coffee piping hot. It's not a fan.
No, me neither. It doesn't work.
Not a fan. Have you been by the way, to Canada since COVID?
Nope.
Crazy.
Wow.
So are you going to book some shows up here and come do some swings?
Well, I really want to record a new album, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever think back, Jen? So we almost recorded, when we did those shows in February 2020, we almost recorded another My Jokes Are Up in the album.
Yeah. We should have,
oh my God, we should have. Oh, that sound exchange money right now during the that would have been. I mean, nobody predicts the global pandemic.
I know.
Well, what if a pandemic happens? Should we just record just in case? Nobody ever could ever prepare for this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I can't believe it because
And if they would have predicted it, you would have sounded like a psycho. Like, guys, I think we should do this gig in case of a global pandemic. You'd be like, are you okay? Who hurt you?
You would be on the front cover of the National Enquirer for being a weirdo.
Also, remember in February when I met up with you and Erica Sigurdsson, our buddy and hilarious comedian, in BC for a tour of our show. Our Jokes Are Up Here. Do you remember I didn't drink?
No, I don't. But you know what? Actually, you got me on a good kick of non-alcoholic beer.
Oh, yeah?
It's still so fun. So I got, I think I already told you guys about this, but it's called Athletic Brewing Company. And they brew they have 6 different kinds of beers. They have all the flavors,
Julien,
they have their golden ale, they have an IPA, they have a stout, it's just like a normal brewery, only all non-alcoholic. But I there was this one day where I had a show, just on Zoom or whatever, but I ended up having 3 non-alcoholic beers.
Yeah.
I was partying it up. I was like, this is awesome.
Do you find there's a placebo effect?
Yeah, I think so.
100%.
I actually feel like I almost felt drunk.
Totally. I get that all the time. Yeah. And they're very popular right now, non-alcoholic beers. Every brewery's got their version of one, and it's a big market.
Yeah, even when I do drink, I always drink session IPAs because I like a hoppy flavor, but I don't want a high ABV. Because if I'm having
ABV?
Alcohol by volume.
Oh.
So 7%, 5%. I drink Tiny Juicy IPA from 5 Boroughs is 4.2. So basically a Coors Light for craft beer nerds.
I prefer.
But if I have like 2 7% beers now, I just fall asleep.
Oh,
like I'm
yeah,
tired.
I know.
It goes back to the Baileys and coffee. It's like, oh, I'm done. Like I'm tired.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
I've never heard ABB before, and I'm gonna start overusing it now.
Yeah.
What's the ABB on that wine over there?
I think it's ABV, right?
ABV. Oh, right. Yeah, alcohol by volume.
ABV. It's ABV.
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 Julien's alcohol by volume is 0%.
Although sometimes, maybe in Canada, or I think some places do a IBU, because I think the way they measure alcohol in the States might be different than Canada.
Got it. By unit.
But yeah, so I haven't been to Canada since February, since our tour.
Crazy. So, but now you could start now booking some stuff for the fall and
Yeah, well, I really want to record a new album. And of course, I want to go on Allison's label. Have I messaged her yet? No.
oh my gosh, she'll do it in a sec. She'll be thrilled. Do it. Message her today. Make that on your list. Message her today and book a date for the fall. Done.
To do what?
Yeah, you're right. I got to do it.
An album.
I mean, I definitely have
through
the material,
Allison.
especially after all of this.
Where do you want to do it?
That's a good question. Like, I think Toronto, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It's anywhere where I could pack a room. You know what I mean?
Toronto.
I did my last one in Miami. Like, I did my personal album like in a city where I had like 0 friends, but that's even more of a testament to that album because I didn't. You know, sometimes you listen to somebody's album and you can just tell it's all their friends and family.
Yeah.
I'm just like laughing at them, but like nothing's funny, and I'm just like, wow. Well, mine is like legit laughs from strangers, so I'm proud of that album.
I was just saying to Jules that's the ideal show too, is strangers. Like, I love my friends and family, but there's nothing like performing for strangers. It's better. Yeah. I don't know why. It's the best.
There's no.
Best. I love seeing people I know. I love the sport, so don't get me wrong, you guys. Don't misinterpret what I'm saying. But there's something about just being autonomous and just being like free on stage and not even thinking about anything.
Yeah, because well, I noticed that the failing part of because I did a show one time in the complete darkness and as part of this comedy festival in Quebec, in this theater, complete pitch dark, and there was zero fear. I wasn't nervous whatsoever, and I realized what I'm scared of was the feeling of people watching me fail, like seeing me bomb and vulnerable, and like I'm on stage and everyone can see me. So when your friends and family are in the audience, there's that risk. You're like, I don't want them to see me, like, you know what I mean? So when it's strangers, you go, I don't care. I mean, you do care, but less.
Too, a little bit. Like it kind of like what coming back full circle to what I was talking about with Christina and how she just lets her freak fly. She just like expresses
and I almost feel like
herself.
that is easier to do in front of strangers.
Totally.
And the internet is a stranger, so it's like, it's, you know, when you post something, I mean, it's kind of like performing for strangers. You know what I mean? So there is something where I am more comfortable being in a room full of strangers than a room full of friends and family.
Right. Like, did you hear that part of the podcast we did a little while ago with Aaron Berg and how he does not care what people think? And he was telling that story about a comedian that we all know. And I was about to tell a story that was super lame and just super PG and, you know, suitable for children. And then he's like, oh, I have a story, and went ahead and plowed ahead with his story. And then I couldn't tell my story after.
I know. That's so funny.
I admire
I am proud of Aaron is like, I mean, I went and saw one of his sets at the Stand, I don't know, a few months, maybe like 2 months ago. Mm-hmm. And he was so funny and so un-PC. But fuck, so funny.
Yeah, he's great.
And his reputation obviously is different. But, you know, there's some women in the city who's like, but you know what I mean? I think he was so funny talking about that thing with Alex Jones and just, you know what I mean? And just, but I don't know.
There was some parts in the interview where I was like, oh, like, but it's, that's what makes it entertaining. Like there was one part where, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but go back and listen if you want, guys, and you'll be able to feel the awkwardness that I felt. But it's also part of the interesting, entertaining aspect of it, because it's like, and the thing is, we know Aaron is a good guy. He's actually got a good heart. He's a really good person. So we talked about that in the show too. If you know that someone is a good person, they don't mean anything maliciously. They're just speaking their truth. Yeah. Kind of thing. Does that?
Yeah, I know. I get it. Because I have some run-ins with some girls that, of course, are not Aaron Berg fans here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know he's a good person.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like those are his opinions. But he's got a good heart. Those are his opinions, right? Yeah. And he's allowed to have those. And he's a good guy.
It's hard in 2021 though. You're almost not allowed to have an opinion if it goes against, like if you're a group that is marginalized and you say these are the rules as that marginalized voice of that marginalized group, and you say here are the rules that you all in your white male world, this is what you have to follow our rules, because if you don't follow those, then you're discriminating. But what if you just feel like a different opinion? It's like, if you feel a different opinion and voice that, then no matter what, you're ignorant, you're disrespectful, and you're not, so it's a really tough thing to navigate. Yeah, no, totally. I mean, I almost forgot, actually, as you were speaking, then all of a sudden I had the flashback to the... You know what I'm talking about. White Guys Matter?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of those ones where I definitely grabbed my head and it was like, oh my God.
I know.
That radio segment on the Todd Shapiro show, you heard that before?
I don't know that I did.
The White Girls Matter tour, or the White Guys Matter tour, Aaron went on with, Jess Beaulieu.
Oh, right.
He went on the Todd Shapiro show and they had it out.
Oh shit! Did they?
Oh, you never heard that clip? It's about 20 minutes long. It's insane. Yeah,
I'm sure Jess had a lot to say.
Oh well, she was very, very upset. It was Jess and someone else. I can't remember who was, but Jess was doing most of the talking. And wow, they went at it, her and Aaron, because Aaron was just basically saying, in comedy, the number one thing is being funny. The funny is first, everything else. And she was like, no, it's not. It's like people's feelings and stuff. And he's like, you're a cancer to comedy, you're comedy ISIS lady and all that. It was crazy.
Oh my God.
Right away he started, he's like, how do you earn a living? Like, do you do stand-up as a living? And she's like, I do a bunch of stuff. He's like, but do you earn your living doing stand-up comedy? She's like, well, yeah. He's like, no, but anyway, it's a great, it's intense, but it's a great listen if you're a comedy fan, because it's that debate. It's both extreme sides of that debate of like, what can you laugh about and what's.
Oof, I already want out of this conversation so badly.
I know, you got to be really careful what you say now, because it's
Yeah, and I feel like I had such a nice support system during that Casino Niagara thing that, I feel like anytime I even try to show sympathy for, any
other side,
some of the edgier people, they're like, remember when we all had your back? And I was like, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, I'm in trouble.
Well, that's the thing. It's a really, really hard thing to even talk about. And anyway.
Yeah, but it's okay to talk about things.
Oh, we have to.
I mean,
right?
It did seem like when I saw the poster, I was like, oh, that's a stunt. Like, it just seems stunty anyways.
Yeah,
it didn't seem like...
That's exactly what it was. It was just a stunt.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, that's not, somebody, I don't know.
And I mean, I think that's different than... That's a whole, and I understand why somebody would, but obviously that you're right. It's a stunt to get people talking and to get the attention. Hey, side note, oh, good. Look, there's a comment to get us off this topic.
Oh, thank God. Thank you, commenter.
My sister.
You can cut all that if you want.
My sister, well, we didn't say anything bad. Don't worry about it. My sister, Melly, says...
Hi, Melly.
IBU, because she's a craft beer nerd.
Oh, yeah.
She knows a lot. She used to work in the industry. IBU is International Bitterness Units. She said it measures the bitterness, in brackets, hops, not the alcohol.
That's right. Yes, thank you, Melly. I knew that there was something with the IBUs. I mean, I was a server for a long time and a bartender, so of course I vaguely remember this, but yes. IBUs. I like IBUs, that's for sure. I like the hops. But yeah, and ABV. All right. Well, that's good. I'm glad we're freshened up on that.
ABV. What's the ABV on that IPA? OPP? Yeah, you know me.
Are you okay?
Are you okay? All acronyms, even okay. Are you okay? A-okay. Thank you.
OMG.
Anything exciting coming up the old pipe?
It's Pike.
Christina?
Isn't it Pike?
Whatever.
I mean, like I said, I'm doing QED in Astoria. Actually, I'm performing in Astoria in your old haunt. I did enjoy you guys talking about Astoria the other day, too, because I took a walk through Astoria on Saturday. And McCann's is closed up, by the way. McCann's is no longer.
Oh, no.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, I texted Christine, too. And then I was too scared to go to No Partners alone, but...
yeah.
And so that's still open.
Yeah, No Partners outlived McCann's. No Partners survived COVID. A lot of bars didn't.
Yeah. Well,
where did you work again, Julien? Didn't you work at like a Greek restaurant?
Mezzo.
Okay.
Probably not there.
That's long gone.
For sure?
Yeah, 7 or 8 years ago. Shut down. I mean, I was working full days and not serve one person. And I was just making my house pay of $2 an hour. I would work 8 hours and make $16.
Oh my God.
Like lunches in the week.
And you couldn't even be on your phone or anything.
No, well, first of all, I had a flip phone, so it wasn't like I had a... But no, and he would make me stand... So I would work these long lunch shifts, and he would read the paper in the back, and he would make me stand at the host stand, even though there's nobody would come. So I just literally stood there and looked at the menu.
Oh my God.
And people watched.
Well, I've been day job free for like 5 years now. But, like cruise ships were obviously helping my income a lot in 2019. And then I had that writing job in 2020 for a few months, which saved my life. But then a couple months ago, I actually I put some feelers out and I got hired at this bar in Chinatown. And I went for like one shift, but it was very hard. It was like still kind of COVID-y, had to wear a mask, had to like take everybody's temperature, had to sign everybody in. There was like a lot of that kind of crap, but like so whatever. But I worked one kind of trial shift for like 4 hours or whatever. And then I ended up turning down the job, but like partly because of the COVID, but honestly, I'm just like at this age now where I can't work anywhere that plays Cotton Eye Joe.
Yeah.
It was like, once I heard Cotton Eye Joe, I was like, oh my God, I can't work here.
Yeah.
Like, and all the kids are like so excited. They're like, and I'm like, no, this song was never good. This song, no.
That's 3.5 minutes of contemplating everything that has brought you to that moment.
That song will get in your head for like a week. It's awful. Anyways, but I didn't. I came close.
Yeah. Are you going to go back to cruise ships when you can?
I want to. I have my availability. I just changed my availability today, actually, because I was thinking I wanted to wait. I actually have some gigs. Like I'm doing Soul Jewels outside of Philly in like 2 weeks, and I'm doing Side Splitters in Tampa in September. So I have some cool stuff, and I'm supposed to go to Tahoe with my family in August. And so whatever. I had all this stuff planned and some cool shows like Comedy Juice. But at the end of the day, I need to fucking hustle and make some money. So I just changed my availability to like right now.
Yeah.
So if a cruise opens up, and here's the problem though, is they want to send comics out for like a month. Some cruise lines like 4 months.
How long was it before?
I was doing
2
week contract.
Yeah, 2 weeks is easy. I mean, manageable because you can still have a life outside of it.
Yeah, 2 weeks is easy. And like if you host, it's $1,500 a week. If you headline, it's $3,000 a week. So the host does all the shows. You only do 10 minutes, so it's easy, which I've done obviously. And then the headliner does 35. But it's like, I just want to, replenish. I put COVID on my credit card, and my 30s actually are on my credit card too. So it's I got some more.
And you have no expenses on the ship, right? You could just.
Yeah, it's like you eat for free, and like even if you want to get a beer or whatever, you can go to the crew bar. A beer is $1.
Is it true when you're a staff that like you can't mingle with people like the public?
We're allowed to, like guest entertainers.
Yeah.
I work on NCL. We're allowed to, but yeah, some of the crew can't.
Right.
But then I'm spending more money if I'm going to, the passenger bars. We still get 50% off at those bars, but you're spending more money, really. But it's still nice. I mean, I think that the cruise ship work is like something that people were kind of really ungrateful for.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of years ago, they were like, "Ugh, I hate the whatever," and now people are like, "Wow, that was actually a great gig." Yeah,
I mean, the that's one good thing out of COVID. It makes you appreciate like Well, I know when you really break it down, you go, I get to go on a ship on a tropical seas and perform comedy for 2 weeks and make some money and come back. I mean, yeah. I know. Yeah. It's crazy the things we took for granted and complained about. Compare that to Zoom shows.
I know.
I feel like people think there's a stigma for sure with cruise ships. Like that's where comics go to die. Like that's where the art is lost. It's like a corporate on the water, but like thankless. You can't really do material you want to, but there's definitely a silver lining. And I think if anyone can balance their life, you can. I
think so. And I think you 2-week contracts
one thing. You're not just a cruise ship comic, like, you know.
Yeah. Yes, certainly not defining. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And like 2 weeks, you know, going in and out, 2 weeks, it was easy. You know what I mean? Like you could be on the road for 2 weeks easily.
Oh, for sure.
That's like 2 weekends.
A month is a chunk more. It's double, but it's not crazy. 4 months is tough, but you could just go, I'm doing this for even that 4 months, as long as it is, it's still a drop in the bucket in the grand scheme. If you just go,
it'll fly by. And like, even if I could get, I've heard them giving like 1 month contracts, and I think 1 month would be very feasible right now.
Yeah.
I actually might be, it's kind of, here's another thing I like about working on the cruise ships. I kind of like checking out. Like I don't get an internet package. So I only check my email. I only check social media and the internet when we're in port, when I have free Wi-Fi. And that's it. Like, that's it. Like then I'm checked out. I don't look at my phone. Like I almost feel like I'm more present because I'm not like glued to the phone, because it doesn't work when I'm out at sea. So I'm bonding with people. I'm making new friends really fast.
And it's 4 months. It flies by. Like we tend to overestimate like how fast time goes by, or underestimate, because if you're doing spots in the city and whatever and seeing comics and running into people, and then you go away for 4 months to do 4 cruises and come back, a lot of people wouldn't even know you left. You'd be like, I just got back 4 months. Oh, really? Didn't I just see you at that mic? You're like, no, actually that was 4.5 months ago. Like time just kind of, you know, if you're around, like 4 months is just a drop in the bucket.
It's so true. Even when I look back on that MTV contract, so that was like for 3 years. I remember thinking, oh my God, they're going to own me for 3 years. Right. Guess what? That 3 years is gone, and like another 3 years is gone. Yeah. So it all flies by.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, Christina Walkinshaw, where can people find you? Where can people find all of your stuff?
Well, you know, I do have a website that I've actually started to update more regularly than not. So ChristinaWalkinshaw.com. And then there's links to like everything there, but across the board, Instagram, Twitter, I'm at Walkinsauce. And then, my blog has the same name as the new podcast. It's taking a long time to become famous.
Check it out on Spotify. And how many have you done so far?
I had a lot of tech issues on my first day working on it, and I accidentally recorded a whole 30-minute thing, and I didn't have the microphone on I had it on the wrong setting, and it was totally useless. Like you couldn't hear anything. So anyway, then I downgraded it on Make My Work Day. I just made a trailer. So there's just a 3-minute trailer out there right now, but so it'll be really easy, and you could decide in 3 minutes whether you want to come with me on.
Yeah, and are you going to release them once a week? What day? Do you know the day yet?
Yes. I think I'm probably going to release on Tuesdays, because my other podcast, Jill and Off, which I also have with Jen Murphy, those come out on Mondays. So today there's a brand new episode. And then I'm still blogging, and the blogs I post on Wednesday.
Look at you. You're content powerhouse.
I really am. Like I said, I'm too scared to ask anybody for spots, but I'll stay at home clicking away like a weirdo.
Ask away. Actually, send Allison a message today. Make that a goal. I
like this goal, and I'll do that.
To say you are looking to record an album in the fall, and then that'll be the first step in doing it.
What if I record in Wakefield? I like that place.
Do it. You would sell out. It would be a hot crowd. I mean, why the hell not?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Cute, Yes. You would. It would 100% sell out.
The Black Sheep. You would love that.
Yeah, the Black Sheep.
I like
would
that.
Be great.
Yeah, Black Sheep would be cool.
You'll definitely sell out. People know you and like you around here. You have a lot of fans. That would be definitely a viable option. And it would sound great.
And
the Black Sheep.
Fun.
Yeah,
it would be fun, and it would sound good.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate. Yeah, you're right. And I got some friends out there for sure.
Oh my God, it would be a packed house.
You have lots of people in Ottawa that would come out to Wakefield.
Yeah, it'd be so good.
Yeah.
And I love staying at your house. Your house is so cozy and nice.
Yeah, you can stay here.
I vote for Wakefield for Christina
I vote for
Walkinshaw's
Wakefield
next
too,
album.
actually.
Yeah.
Well, get the ball rolling because Jen is really good at this, at just taking the first step and doing things. Like you get me going on everything. I mean, and so that's your challenge for the day. Get step 1 of that album going, and then the ball is officially in motion, rolling.
Yeah, you're right. I like this.
Yeah.
And then it'll force you to just start thinking about that. Then you start working your way back from that when you do it. So then you start booking more spots. You actively start to then ask for more things because you know this is coming up. And so it's kind of win-win.
Well, that's the thing is I want the album to be all the material I wrote in lockdown that I couldn't practice or do anywhere. So I want to call the album Untested.
Perfect. A very on brand with the pandemic. I mean,
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, this was fun because, selfishly, we get to catch up with our buddy.
Yeah, we love you.
Yeah. So
this is a great hang. Yeah. I'm so excited too. Yeah.
This is content / FaceTiming, basically.
It really is. Yeah. And I was excited to wake up early for this. There's not a lot of people I'd wake up at 8 a.m. for, but you guys are 2 of them.
Allison Dorr said the same thing. Remember?
Yes.
She was a great guest. We asked her, "Are you usually up?" No.
Well, those are the best guests, our friends or people. That was funny. No.
Yeah. No.
Because it is just a fun hang. It's not like an interview or we just kind of talk.
Yeah.
And that's if you listen, that's the best kind of content.
Yeah, absolutely. And Christina, you're entertaining to talk to. You're a fun person to talk to. And that's why I'm friends with you.
Yay!
Well,
you really are like family to me.
Yep.
Yeah, totes, my goats, my loats, my floats. All right. We'll let you go. Are you going to go back to bed or are you up for the day?
No, I might actually do a little writing and then I'll go for my run. I've been running laps. Nike Run Club, baby.
Oh, yeah. And I have shins.
I know you downloaded the app. I know you have it.
Yeah. Well, I was using it but I have crazy shin splints. I couldn't get it. So I stopped running I ran pretty much every day for a while. And then these crazy shin splints, I couldn't run for more than half a kilometer without having to walk. And, so I took a few weeks off and then now I'm biking, which I love because it's like running, but so much faster. You can cover so much ground. It's crazy. After running and walking for a month and then getting on the bike, I'm like, this is like taking a plane. It's crazy.
I hop on the city bike. I have a city bike membership, so I hop around sometimes, but yeah, it's like, oh yeah, biking is so much faster. This is so easy.
You cover so much ground.
Are we like those people that say we're leaving a party?
I know. Never leave.
the podcast, we just ended it. Now we're still talking.
I know.
It's like, not to bring it back to full circle, that hell gig I did on Friday. The sound tech for my last set was finally, he goes, yeah, you're good. I go, all right, ladies and gentlemen, it's thank you. That's my time. It's now time to. He goes, well, 3-4 minutes. I go, seriously, and I said that. I said that on stage. I go, when you say goodbye to someone at a party, then you run into them 8 minutes later. It's like this. Now I have to do more time.
I know what's happening right now. Can I tell you what's happening right now?
What?
He is delaying his second shot. He's got to go. He's supposed to. You were supposed to be at the clinic 12 minutes ago. It started at 9, so you have to get going. And he's putting it off.
You'll be fine. Drink a giant coffee before you go. I had the biggest coffee before I got my vaccination, and it's the biggest coffee I've ever had in my life. I went to some different coffee shop. And it must have been magic coffee because I'm sure that coffee jacked me up to take that vax like a champ because
Maybe it was whiskey beans, but with alcohol in them, and you didn't care.
Oh yeah, and maybe
go ahead.
You can justify a third espresso shot today.
I've only had one, so
have your second one and then go get your second one.
Shit.
Second shot to get the second shot right now.
It helps.
All right.
The cats are having a friggin' party upstairs. I can hear them. All right. Well, thanks so much, Christina.
You're the best. We love you. Go to ChristinaWalkinshaw.com, at Walkinshaw on Instagram and Twitter, and follow on Facebook, and go read her blog and check her out on Spotify. And she's a content machine.
Oh, quickly. Also, are you still doing that? What's the other thing you do? What's that other thing? The burping or something?
What, burping on OnlyFans?
Yeah. Do you still do that?
Oh, yeah. Why not? It's
okay.
I didn't want to ask. You're like skating around you're like, are you doing that
No,
thing?
I forgot what it's called.
I'm not like as passionate about my career as a professional burper anymore as I used to be. You know, once something turns into a job, it's lost its art form a little bit. But
so did you actually?
I can't help it.
Oh shit! I kicked the camera. Oops. Oh,
are you guys passing gas? Is that why you?
No, what happened? Was there a bug or something?
No, sorry. I kicked the. Yeah, there was a bug.
What kind of bug?
An ant on my foot. Oh.
You panicked like it was a scorpion.
It's a really cool picture, though.
Okay. Well, what?
Are you okay?
But yeah, I can't help it. I keep making money on that burping thing. So more money.
I mean, why the hell not?
I've made like $6,000 burping.
Are you crazy? Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
So how do people find you there?
I'm at Burps Magoo on OnlyFans. If you have a burp fetish, I didn't use my real name. I mean, I can tell a lot of guys on there like know me from comedy anyway. It's like, but you know, whatever. I don't use my real name, so OnlyFans.com/Burps Magoo. If you have a burp fetish, if you don't have a burp fetish, guess what? You ain't gonna like the content. So.
That's great.
People have burp fetishes. Okay, that's a whole other episode. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll have our fetish episode next time. We'll get down and dirty with fetishes.
Let's do a fetish episode.
We should do where we what?
Talk about
burp and fart and stuff.
Yeah, you don't even have to have me on it if you don't want. But you need a fetish. Yeah, because we know that there's a lot of fetishes.
Yeah, it'd be interesting just to talk about fetishes. Like, what the hell?
So, but when it's a fetish, is it always sexual? Like, are guys beating off while you're burping?
I mean, I don't. Whatever they do behind closed doors is their business. But I don't want to know. But what I do is I just provide burps that Booger from Revenge of the Nerds would be proud of.
Booger.
So it's like, cause it can't all be sexual, like ASMR and stuff. That's just like weird, but people.
No, ASMR for sure. I think a lot of people, it's like a sound. Yeah, for sure.
Right.
It's sexual.
No, it's just like a sound thing.
Yeah, but why? They just relax to it, I guess.
Maybe.
Let me see if it
does.
Oh, that actually sounds like Christina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, gross! Stop.
Earl at Spirits actually had a sound bite of one of my burps.
No way. No.
Yeah.
One of our loyal listeners, Wendy, said, "Hilarious, LOL, Burps Magoo." She's loving it.
Yay, and Burps Magoo.
She also commented that you're a great guest. Really, really entertained by the convo. So,
yay! That's so good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited when people like our content. That's nice.
Exactly. Feedback.
All right, we'll let you go. I'm gonna go get my second dose.
We're ending the podcast for the third time. This podcast.
All right, bye, Christina.
Bye.
And there she goes.
Bye.
Bye.
I don't know how do I get out of this?
Do I have to go now, or do I hit leave? Or
oh, here, yeah, I can do it.
Or are you hanging up on me? Oh my God, this is a podcast that never ends. It goes on and on and on.
It's like
recording, not knowing what they do. Never.
It's like when you're young and you're like, you hang up. No, you hang up. No, you hang up.
It really is that.
All right, no, I'll hang up.
Okay, you hang up.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Christina Walkinshaw, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, the fabulous and talented Christina Walkinshaw. Go to ChristinaWalkinshaw.com. Follow on Instagram and Twitter at Walkinsauce. And her new Spotify podcast series. It's taken a long time to get famous. Is that the name?
Something like that. It's taking a long time.
It's taking a long time. Anyway, go check her. If you search Christina Walkinshaw, it'll come up. All right, we should. We didn't do the Daily Dose.
It's tomorrow.
Can it wait?
No, yeah, 100%.
No. You're like, no. Okay. Well, that's our episode. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. We appreciate everything. If you're watching on YouTube, smash that like button, subscribe, and hit that bell. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please leave a review. That makes all the difference in the world. If you're listening on Facebook, give us a share. Why don't you? Go ahead, share it now. People can watch the replay. It's a great interview. Great chat with Christina Walkinshaw.
Yeah, why don't you? Oh, yeah, we got a nice review. Thanks for the nice reviews, everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, makes such a difference in our lives.
It really does. Jen, I love you.
Love you.
So much it hurts.
Aw, you should. I love you, too.
Why'd she say screw you? All right, we'll see you tomorrow, everybody, for Tuesday's episode. And until then, watch your head. Yeah.
You spend your life looking for what you already got. Such a beautiful waste of time. Waste of time. A beautiful waste of time. It's just a waste of time. Wandering eyes and itchy feet. I'm just a thin, nervous shadow walking backwards down the street. The landing is bitter, but the falling is oh so sweet. It's just a waste of time. A beautiful waste of time. It's just a waste of time. The whole world wants a piece of my head, but they all get a piece of my mind instead. I roll over and go back to bed. It's such a beautiful waste of time.